Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And today I'll be reading Multi-Character Listener by me. So let's get into it. Kazuha. Making out with him was kind of an experience on its own. He was not that experienced in romantic stuff, but he still tried to make you happy in any way that he can. And also, he wouldn't deny that he wanted to try this, and has been wanting to try a more intimate sort of kiss for a while, since you started dating. And as soon as he felt like he had enough courage, he knew that he had to try and give it a shot. After all, he won't gain any experience if he's too worried to give it a shot. And that's what makes him try in the first place. Your first makeout session is a little bit messy, and he's hesitant, and you can tell. But much to his relief, as you see his hesitance, you tell him that you two do not have any experience, and somehow, even though that's where sort your progress or whatsoever, but it makes Kaza more at ease. At least he won't be feeling embarrassed. And honestly, that was one thing he was worrying about a lot. Albedo, he gives me the sense that he probably knows what he's doing most of the time. I cannot say whether or not he had previous romantic affairs, but most certainly he knows how to make a makeout session enjoyable. But it's a little bit surprising, because first, all you knew that we were going to cuddle, and as you sat next to him, with the way he looked at you so hungrily, his gaze entailing something much more than just a cuddle session. It appears that your judgment was also true, because minutes later, he had his arms wrapped around you, and his hands cupping your face in his hands, as he leaned in for one more kiss. He deepened it, and honestly, it was something else entirely. You had never kissed someone like that before, and it felt quite heavenly. Albedo just knew how to make you actually feel like you were losing your mind because of how good the kiss was. Perhaps he really did have previous experience, but you would never truly know. Venti? Well, it may be surprising, but Venti really does not have that much experience, even though he's much older than Albedo himself. It doesn't really correlate with his experience at all. But what you do know is that he's willing to try. Venti would really try anything for you, especially if it makes you happy, and if you enjoy it. He wants nothing more than to see you smile, and if it means the first makeout session will be a little bit embarrassing the most, then he's willing to try. He's willing to do anything, as long as he sees a smile on your face, as long as he sees you happy, and most of all, if it makes you blush. And as you sat on his lap, and he leaned in for another deep kiss, the blush making your face redder and redder, his plan was working accordingly, and somehow, he felt like he was doing good at this. He had zero idea what he was doing, but if it was working, then it was. He was not going to disagree on that. Scaramouche, you want me to what? Kiss you with my... Oh, you really... Is that a thing, Ryan? It just feels obnoxious and weird, he said. His face was bright red with the way he was blushing and crossing his arms. That's when you really knew that you needed to just try and introduce the idea in a simpler way to him, because apparently it was a little bit shocking for him to take in so suddenly, especially since he was not romantic at all and had little to zero idea about how affection and intimacy works. So this all at once was a little bit surprising for him, for a good reason. So once you tried to slowly explain to him why you would like that and how it's done, even though he was blushing less and even though he didn't get it, he tried just for you. However, during your first makeout session, it was kind of a little bit messy. He was extremely nervous, and you could even feel his hands shaking, but A for effort, and truly, he tried his absolute best. So give him credit, at least for that. Tighnari. Tighnari was surprisingly good at this. So once you were kissing him once, and you got a little bit excited, he pulled you closer to him, and began making out with you. It was a little bit sudden, and completely unexpected, but he would be lying if he said it wasn't the best thing in the world. Truly, he was an amazing kisser, and you had no idea where he got that experience from. But it didn't matter, if all of his expertise was going to you, right? After all, he made you happy, and that's what you really wanted in the end. Xiao? Now, Xiao was such an angel, so when you first mentioned making out to him, he's like, "What's that, Wayan?" And then you have to explain, and he's so shocked. Poor boy gets so shocked by the information that you tell him that he throws it in place. His eyes wouldn't move from looking at the ground. The only thing changing about him was the fact that his face was bright red now. Xiao? Hey, we don't really have to do it if you don't want to. I was just saying. No, that's not the case. I'm just trying to understand. You nodded, letting out a soft sigh as he patted his back gently. If he didn't want to make out with you, then you weren't going to make him do. But, much to your surprise, he was quite curious on why people thought it was a good thing and why they liked it in the first place. So he was a little bit eager to try. And honestly, you were more than grateful for that. After all, dating Xiao and not making out with him would be truly a big loss.